Hello, everyone. My name is Alturgood, and welcome back to the College Application Hub. So today we're going to be talking about the question of do I need to be valedictorian to get into a good college? So let me just define what valedictorian and salutatorian mean. Valedictorian is the number one GPA in your graduating class. Salutatorian is the number two GPA in your graduating class, and it depends from school to school, but traditionally it's one valedictorian and one salutatorian. Um, that being said, again, every school does it differently. For instance, my school did it like if you had a 4.0 by the end of your first semester in senior year, then and this was unweighted GPA, then you would be valedictorian. So the number of valedictorians were not restricted. I was one of them, but in total there were four. So there were three other valedictorians other than me, and we all gave a speech in our graduation, which was a pretty cool experience. Due to COVID, we all had to come individually and to give the speech, but so it was kind of awkward giving this speech to just to my parents, like the two principals and the camera guy, since it was recorded. But overall, it was a pretty cool experience. So giving the speech and preparing the speech is definitely a cool part of graduation, and you get a lot more spotlight when you're graduating, so that's nice. Um, but let me get to the answer to answering the question, right? So the short answer to the question of do I need to be valedictorian to get a good to get into a good school is no. You don't need the title of valedictorian. There are a lot of non-valedictorians with high GPAs or sometimes even low GPAs that get into really good schools and really good programs. Like for those of you who think about BSMD, and there are a lot of valedictorians who get into just very average schools, right? State schools or whatsoever. So valedictorian itself is not a guarantee, and there are several reasons for this. First of all, the importance of GPA has declined significantly compared to the past. I mean, because a lot of colleges are becoming aware that there's a lot of grade inflation in many high schools. They're also just shifting importance to things like uh, your essays, your interviews, your extracurriculars, your clubs, your sports, etc. All that, your volunteering, research. It just the list goes on. There's so many other factors, and of course, there's also your SAT. At that point, your GPA just it's really an important part still, and you don't want to have a low GPA. That's just because a lot of schools use like, GPA as a preliminary cutoff score, basically. But other than that, your GPA is not that critical to your application process. Another mistake that valedictorians do is they take easy classes, non-AP classes, for example, in order to get a good GPA, and that is not how you're supposed to do it because valedictorian title itself is not that important. But you taking difficult classes and proving yourself, and especially taking APs and getting good scores, that's much more important than being valedictorian. So the trick is getting a really high GPA with really difficult courses, right? That's a sweet spot. That's what you want to accomplish. And I know, of course, that's harder to do, but well, that obviously but that's what you need to strive for. So that's something very important. The other thing is a lot of valedictorians, um, miss out on a lot of extracurricular activities that colleges are looking for simply because they spend so much time working on their GPA that they neglect other parts of their applications. And the thing is, your GPA should be the highest that it is, but do not sacrifice your other activities for the sake of your GPA. That is not the strategy to go. I mean, if you have above a 3.9, it doesn't really matter what GPA you have. I mean, obviously a 4.0 looks better than a 3.9. I'm not denying that, but after a certain cutoff point, GPA doesn't really come into play. So um, do the best you can, but don't worry too much about it. So if you don't dedicate yourself solely to becoming valedictorian, if you're if you have other things in your plate, extracurriculars, research, etc. It's okay to get one or two like A's or A minuses or whatsoever, um, because at the end of the day, if you have so many better activities in your plate, they're going your GPA is negligible, right? So don't strive so much for it that you neglect everything else. That being said, I am actually against like the recent current that says like, oh, don't care about becoming valedictorian, etc. Simply because, while the title itself isn't important, it's a good motivator, right? High school is a huge marathon. It's like 3.5 to 4 years, because like senior second semester doesn't really matter. Um, of working, right? You're constantly working. And it's a long process, and sometimes you might feel lost. Sometimes you might feel frustrated, and having that solid objective of I want to get valedictorian, it is a good motivator, not just for studying tests, but just overall being ambitious, because you need a lot of ambition to get into a good school, and setting your mind on becoming valedictorian is an important goal. Um, to motivate yourself to study harder, to work harder, and that's why I would recommend that all of you strive for valedictorian, but don't sacrifice your other components, other aspects of your application, but strive to be the best you can be, right? Obviously, because that's what colleges want to see. And, if you get valedictorian, that's still a prestigious title. And, having a 4.0, of course, is always a good thing, right? So just don't, without sacrificing the rest of your application, strive for valedictorian, because it's going to motivate you. It's going to push you to work harder, even at times when you're feeling down, because you're going to tell yourself, oh, okay, you know what? I have a goal. I want to be valedictorian. I want to get that 4.0. So I need to sit down for this test and study. I need to do well. And that's an important. You need to have something solid that you can look forward to. Another, and this is not important, this is just like a side thing, but there isn't also like a nice benefit of getting valedictorian, which I didn't know when I was applying, is you get a lot of recognition from like your school, your county government, and your like state government, which doesn't matter for college applications, because I got them the day I graduated, but it's just like a nice confidence booster. So I'm just gonna like show you, just like just because it's kind of cool, to be honest. But other than that, like these have literally no meaning. But so I got like a little sticker in my certificate, like high school diploma, saying I was valedictorian. So that's the first thing. I got another award from my school for being valedictorian. It literally doesn't have any meaning though. This one, let's see. This one is from my town board. And this is just a certificate of achievement. Yeah, achievement. Then I got a letter from my county executive, along with another another certificate of achievement from my county executive. Then this is just a hefty one. I got a certificate of excellence, again from my county. I don't know why they give out so many awards, to be honest, because it's literally just the same title, but it's just nice. And I think this was the coolest one out of all of them. This is a proclamation by my state senator, acknowledging not just me, but the other valedictorians. So it's just like, I don't know, this was actually like discussed in the state senate or whatever, but it's actually formatted in the way how a lot of other proclamations and bills are formatted. It's like formatted in the whereas format. So overall, these were just pretty cool awards. They don't have any bearing whatsoever in your college applications, but as I said, it's something cool to look forward to. So in conclusion, valedictorian itself doesn't mean anything, but if it's a nice thing to set your mind to, set your goals to, so that you're motivated, and even when you're feeling unmotivated, unambitious, it promotes you to do better, right? But the important thing is, don't get too obsessed over it. 1A minus is not going to kill your application. It's much better to have a diverse application with many activities and many extracurriculars than just to have a good GPA, because there are a lot of valedictorians who don't get into good schools. So that concludes the video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you guys have any suggestions, comments, questions, please feel free to write them and ask them. Your suggestions and your comments help me a lot and give me a lot of great feedback. So thank you so much for watching this video. And yeah, feel free to write any suggestions down below.